Album artwork. I don't feel it has as much sort of meaning as it used to. You know, when like albums were mostly physical. And I'm probably just saying that because I'm an old but you know, whether it's right or not, I need to design some. It's for a little personal project of mine, and I'll tell you why. Once a year, myself and a couple of friends grab all of our musical instruments, we load them into the back of our cars, and we drive to a remote cottage in Wales. We then spend 2 days in our pants, drenched in booze, writing songs about the first things that come into our head. So as a result of this, we generally end up writing about the stupidest things we can. I'll give you an idea. This time around we have a song about the stress of popping out to the shops. We've got a song that takes you through the entire journey of a night of disappointing intercourse, and another one documenting Chuck Berry's toilet related exploits. So as you can see, mainly like deep philosophical themes. So my job is to translate the care and attention we take into our songwriting process and turn it into some beautiful album artwork. So the front men we use for this musical experiment thing are these guys, a band of puppets. So we're calling this album Puppetual Motion. It's a good name. It's a good name for an album. So to think of an idea for this one, I'm going to start by listening to each one of the songs to see what ideas and themes I can pull out of them. So I'm just listing as many things as I can as I hear them come up on each and every song. And as I'm writing these down, an idea comes to me. So there's no theme, right? There's no theme to these songs whatsoever. They don't follow a pattern. There's no subject matter that appears pretty much more than once. So I think I need to make a puppet that's built from all of the different ideas in each song, all of the different things that we talk about. Like a mashup of daft ideas from a complete bunch of morons that makes a puppet. I think that's where I'm going. So let's make an album cover. I'm already here, so I'll start. So first I grab this guy, like a little model that you use to pose for reference. I use this little guy all the time. I'd highly recommend you own one of these if you don't already, just for referencing body forms and like dynamic posing and stuff. Really, really useful. So my character's going to be a puppet. He's going to be sort of hanging maniacally. So I'm kind of got a vague picture of that in my head. So I'm going to try and pose this guy in a similar sort of fashion, and I can then sort of use that to draw a reference sketch to then build on. So once I have that reference sketch, and by looking at my list of topics from each song, I can start creating a puppet made from each of the really odd things that we have been singing about on this. And I end up with this. I think that's a start I can do something with. So let's open this sketch up in Adobe Fresco. I'm going to lower the opacity and add a new layer above it. I'm going to use the basic round vector brush with zero tapering because I don't want any of that nonsense, not on this. I'll take the smoothing way down as I don't want this to look too perfect and polished. I'm going for like slightly messy and manic with this little guy, so janky lines are going to be my friend here. I'm going to play you a little bit from one of our songs as I carry on laying down these lines, so you enjoy that. Okay. Next up, I have a few different layers of line work here, so I'm going to merge them all down into one single layer. I'll then duplicate that layer, and on the bottom one, I'll choose a neutral color with the paint bucket tool and fill in a load of solid color across the entire character. This layer of solid color is going to allow me to paint over the top of it with a clipping mask, so I don't need to concern myself with staying inside any lines as I start painting. So before I move on to colors, I want to have a good idea of where my light is coming from, so I know where to apply highlights and shadows. As he's facing this way, I think it makes sense to have him facing the direction of the light. So this side's going to have the shadows, this side's going to have the highlights. To choose my color palette, I'm jumping into Adobe Color. I've chosen Compound from the options here on the left. And I want to find something that gives me a nice blue as a primary color, along with something that's a little bit sort of like a light brown for the wooden parts of the puppet. And once I kind of drag it around to find something with a nice sort of brown that gives me a blue as well, this Compound option offers me 3 complementary colors to go along with it. So boom, we're in. Save this to my library. Then like magic, it appears as a selection on my color picker within Fresco. I do love the internet. Now to paint. I'm going to use one of Fresco's live brushes for this. Oil Paint Chunky. I'm just going to lay down a little bit here to show you what I'm going to do. I'll choose a darker color for shading, and you'll see that if I move the flow right up and start to paint, the darker color lays on pretty thick and is quite pronounced. But if I drop the flow down, I can lay this darker color on with a bit more subtlety and it blends in nicer. So with our layer ready to go and clipped to the solid gray layer beneath it, I can start filling in all my colors. Then using the technique I just showed you, I'll add in my shadows, my highlights, along with changing the color and the style of the line work. So let's get on to that while I furnish you with another one of our little ditties. I said ditties. Album artwork done. I hope some of that was in some way useful if you want to get on to Fresco and have a little play around with it. Thanks for watching, if you are indeed still watching. You're not, are you? I can say anything. I can't think of anything clever to say. I think this is the part where I'm supposed to ask you to like, comment, subscribe, jump over to my Patreon page, become a patron. But I'm not going to ask you to do any of that.